Now we'll move to the Southwestern Conference Week 6 recap. And we'll first start heading to Westlake, where the Demons were looking to get their first win at the hands of the Avon Eagles, who are still undefeated. And it took Avon 7 plays, and they scored first. It was junior quarterback Ryan Malloy hitting David Orlando, the wide receiver, on a 23-yard touchdown pass. Avon had a 7-0 lead. And Westlake, though, they would answer back with a score of its own on a 9-play, 80-yard drive on the very next series when Billy Blood connected to Jacob May on a 9-yard touchdown pass. This game was tied at 7 at one point, and then Avon again had an answer every time the Demons would try to score here as Malloy connected with Chris Mullins for a 77-yard touchdown. It was 14-7 at the end of the first quarter, and then the Eagles in the second quarter would tack on 2 more touchdowns, this time on the ground from Tony Eberhardt. He scored from 13 yards out, followed by a 21-yard run from Malloy, the quarterback. The Demons were able to put a solid drive together with James Coleman as he scored on a 1-yard touchdown run. This made it 35-14 Eagles in the third quarter, but Avon would outscore Westlake 20-7 and win big here, 55-21. Offensively for Avon, they recorded 4 touchdowns on the ground and 5 in the air. Just a great balanced attack. They had 533 total yards of offense. They improved to 6-0, 5-0 in conference to the Avon Eagles. And Westlake drops to 0-6, 0-5. Again, Avon wins 55-21. Avon will host Lakewood as Westlake will travel to Midview. So it doesn't get any easier for the Demons. Midview versus Barea Mid-Park. And this game was tight. It was a pretty close game early on. And in the first quarter, it started off with a 15-yard touchdown pass from Trevor Bazinski to Garrett Waite. And that started the scoring for Barea Mid-Park. But then Midview would answer with a 6-yard touchdown run by Connor Wolf. That would tie the game. But really in this one, Midview at one point in the end of the first quarter, they were up 14-10 with a 6-yard touchdown pass from Seamus Higley to Alonzo Banks. It was 14-10 there. Barea Mid-Park had a 4th down stop, but Luis Vega fumbled, giving the ball back to Midview, and they took advantage. And from different reports, they said Vega was down, and obviously you can't review it in high school football, so Midview capitalized, though, extending the lead to 24-10 as they would score on that next series with a field goal from 27 yards and then another touchdown by Connor Wolf, who had a heck of a game. Barea Mid-Park, they would respond in the second half with a touchdown run by Trevor Bazinski. They cut it to 24-17 into the third quarter with 8:39 left, but then Midview's just too much. Connor Wolf would respond and give Midview the lead with 2 more rushing touchdowns, and Midview improves to 5-1, 4-1 in conference as they will host the Demons. Midview wins 38-17. Barea Mid-Park falls to 3-3, 3-2 in conference. And it doesn't get easier either for Barea Mid-Park as they will travel right down the road as they take on the Bulldogs of Olmsted Falls. Connor Wolf from Midview, he had 4 touchdowns and 188 yards rushing for the Middies. Olmsted Falls traveling to Amherst, and I thought this would be a really exciting, high-scoring game. Both teams love to run the ball, but who would run it better in this game? Well, Olmsted Falls, they struck first, scoring on their only passing touchdown of the night with a 26-yard touchdown from quarterback Teddy Grenzitsky to wide receiver Braden Galaska with 5:10 remaining in the first quarter. It was 6-0 Olmsted Falls. Then the Bulldogs, after the Comets' Matt Lee blocked the extra point, the Bulldogs would score again when Jack Spellacy scored on a 3-yard run for his first score of the night. It was 13-0 Bulldogs. The Comets would answer, though, on the ensuing drive as running back Kennedy Scagliazzo, who we've mentioned many times on this show, scored on a 5-yard touchdown run. It was 13-7 Olmsted Falls. Then Olmsted Falls, they would answer with another score in the final minutes of the half when Michael Howard ran it in for an 11-yard score to put the Bulldogs up 20-7, and that's how it would be at halftime. The Comets, though, they would answer in the second half with Kennedy Scagliazzo on a 5-yard touchdown run. They narrowed the lead at 20-14. To close out the third quarter, the Bulldogs, though, would answer as Jack Spelsey scored on his second touchdown on a 19-yard run to put the lead back up to 12 points. It was 26-14. The Bulldogs would score 2 more times, and they win big in this game, 39-14, and a little bit of a surprise there. Give credit to the Olmsted Falls defense, holding the Comets to only 14 points in this game. Kenny Scagliazzo for Amherst, the running back, would still get 157 yards and 2 touchdowns. For Olmsted Falls, it was Luke Lombardo, finished with 89 yards rushing, 1 touchdown, and Jack Spelsey finished with 93 yards and a touchdown.
Wow. Yeah, not going on there. What about let me ask you about Amherst, Rob. I mean, so they've had last couple of years have been a little rough for them. They were able to jump off to a 3-0 start. Had a tough loss against Midview. Got a big win against Barea Mid-Park. Seems like maybe they came back down to reality against Olmsted Falls. The next 3 games will be their barometer as to whether they can hang and then make the playoffs. What do you think? What do you think about Amherst against Avon Lake, North Olmsted, and Avon? For the next three games.
I think Avon Lake and North Olmsted, I think those are good chances to really score some points there, because North Olmsted, they've had kind of the same season as Amherst. They've been impressive, but especially after last year, I thought they had a little bit of a down year. Did North Olmsted, the Eagles there, kind of like Amherst. And then this year, it seems like they're on the rise. And right here, I was surprised. I thought Amherst, if they came out and won this game, they could really have a nice season, and they still can. But this would have been a big one to get some points, especially Olmsted Falls, who's always consistently good. I think Avon is a little bit ahead of everybody else right now when you look at it. And granted, we'll see where Amherst is at in the last game of the season. That could be a really important game for them to determine if they're going to possibly make the playoffs or not. We'll tell you where they're at later on as we come out. But Scagliazzo obviously leads Amherst with running the ball. They just, I think, need to find some other weapons other places, because a lot of teams try to say, let's let him run and focus on everybody else, and he can't do it all. So I think they have a good chance to beat Avon Lake. Avon Lake's a tough team, but they've kind of been up and down at 4-2 right now, and the same for North Olmsted. So those are winnable games for them.
Excellent.
Looking at Olmsted Falls, like you said, they'll host Barea Mid-Park and Amherst. They're 4-2, 3-2 in conference. They will travel to Avon Lake, so that'll be on the road. I think it's interesting in the Southwestern Conference, all the away teams won this week. So it was kind of interesting to see that when you look at how this week went in the Southwestern Conference. But next we'll head to North Ridgeville, where the Avon Lake Shoremen took on the North Ridgeville Rangers. Avon Lake, this game was close for the most part and a defensive matchup for most of the game, but it was a 32-yard field goal by Noah Falks. That put Avon Lake up 3-0 late in the first quarter. North Ridgeville, though, they would answer with a 78-yard touchdown on an interception to go ahead 7-3 at the start of the second quarter. Then a 2-yard touchdown run by Connor Riggs gave Avon Lake a 10-7 lead. This was early in the third quarter, so not much scoring really in this game. A great defensive game for both teams. But Avon Lake's defense, they held North Ridgeville's offense in check, only giving up 7 points to the North Ridgeville Rangers. And Connor Riggs would score a second touchdown on a 27-yard run to basically seal the game. Avon Lake wins big here, 24-7. Avon Lake improves to 4-2, 3-2 in conference, and they will host Amherst, while North Ridgeville falls to 0-6, 0-5. And they travel right down the road to Avon, so it doesn't get any easier for the Rangers. Shamari Williams, didn't hear about him at all in this game. And give credit to Avon Lake. Their defense really stifled North Ridgeville's offense. They could get nothing going for most of this game after North Ridgeville put up a ton of points against a very good Olmsted Falls team. They're at home against Avon Lake. I thought this could be a game where North Ridgeville maybe sneaks one out, but Avon Lake's defense really was impressive on that night. All right, we'll head to Lakewood. And, this is my last game, and, this very well could have been the game of the week, which is a little surprising with, Lakewood struggled a little bit, but there was a great story in this game, and it started with junior Lakewood running back Will Adams. He had to go to the hospital the week before, and he had a serious injury. as he played last week. He suffered a bruised kidney, but was cleared for this game. And I'll tell you what, this is one heck of a story. And if I had to give a game ball to somebody, it would be him. Just coming back from a bruised kidney to play this game and having such an impact. He scored early in the first quarter, giving the Rangers a 7-0 lead. Then North Olmsted, running back Darren Anders, he would respond with a 66-yard touchdown run. It would tie the game at 7, and then Lakewood would have a nice drive and another long run of 30 yards by Will Adams. And they would try a field goal that was missed, giving the ball back to the Eagles, and that hurt the Rangers a little bit. Darren Anders then set up the Eagles. Ryan Connolly for a 2-yard touchdown run. North Olmsted was up 14-7 with 15 seconds remaining in the first quarter. And then Austin Mahar would score, and the Rangers tried to go for 2, but it failed on that play. It was 14-13. And give credit to Lakewood. I mean, they didn't lay down in this game. They continued to push the envelope here and stay in the game. And North Olmsted, though, they would push the lead at 21-13. Lakewood did have a nice drive and got a field goal right before half to cut the lead at 21-16. But then in the third quarter, the Eagles would score 2 third-quarter touchdowns by Ryan Connolly to take a 35-16 lead. The Rangers, though, they wouldn't give up as they responded with a 14-yard Austin Mahar to Jay Boyd touchdown pass early in the fourth quarter. They cut the lead to 35-23, but again, the Eagles running back Darren Anders, what a year this kid has had. He would strike from 65 yards out, and he's had a lot of long touchdowns on the year and 2 over 60-yard touchdowns on this night. It would extend the Eagles' lead to 42-23. And a game with a lot of offense, North Olmsted would outlast the Rangers in this one, 49-38. The Eagles improved to 4-2, 3-2 in conference, and will host North Ridgeville as the Rangers drop to 0-6, 0-5, and will travel to Avon. But give credit to Will Adams. You know, he had a touchdown run in this game after suffering a bruised kidney. I'll tell you what, I don't know if I'd want to play that very next game, but he got in there, played, scored a touchdown, and really kept his team in it because he had a great job running the football for the Rangers.
I mean, that's the toughest that you need. I mean, if you play for Lakewood and you see that you see that happen, like, I don't know how you don't want to run through a wall, you know, to compete. Like, you know, I would think that's something that might hurt, but you're not necessarily injured. Might hurt a little bit less when you see that happening.
Right.
And you say, you know what, I think I can get out there and probably get out there and give my best on this one. I don't need to nurse anything here. And let's think about this even more so. I mean, he's a junior, so he does have another year coming back. But they're in the middle of an 0-6 season. You know, you bruise your kidney. How easy is it for to say, you know what, I'm going to take the next game off?
Yeah.
You know, that just it speaks to the heart of him and how much of a team player he really is. You know, and you wanted to get back in there and set the tone, and getting an early touchdown certainly does that. Unfortunately for Lakewood, they're just going to be on the talent level just isn't as high as it is at some of these other schools. You know, and they're going through a really rough stretch right now with Olmsted Falls, Avon Lake, North Olmsted, and Avon next week.
Yeah.
You know, but you see some light at the end of the tunnel. You got Westlake and North Ridgeville coming up, sandwiched with the Midview game sandwiched in there. So, you know, there's definitely some opportunities for Lakewood there, and you know, you're exactly right, Rob. It's a tremendous story. Tremendous story for him.
Yeah, I was so shocked to read that, and the Lakewood Observer wrote a great article about that and gave some great detail on that game. And you know, one of those teams is going to win a game coming up, whether it's North Ridgeville, Westlake, or Lakewood.
I was just going to say that you know, the bottom 3 teams in the SWC are, you know, Westlake, North Ridgeville, and Lakewood. You know, it's these teams that are towards the top of the standings that have to play these teams. They're going to have to, you know, you don't want them to start thinking about playoffs because, you know, that's you know, of course it's a big deal. But you don't want one of these, you know, 0 for teams sneaking up on you and maybe costing you a victory. One of these teams is going to win a game. It's just a matter of when.
Yeah.
You would think. I say I'm not going to guarantee that one of them will win, but it's that's what I'll be interested to see. You know, the last 4 weeks of the season here. which one of these teams could possibly play spoiler.
Yeah, it's always fun to see during the end of the season. And Avon and Midview are 1-2 right now as the top 8 teams in Division II Region 6, which most of the teams in the Southwestern Conference, other than Barea Mid-Park, are in Division 1. But Avon and Midview are 1-2, and then you have Medina Highland right there. Olmsted Falls is number 7, so they would sneak in. And then Amherst at number 9, North Olmsted at 10, and then you go down the line, and then Avon Lake is 16. So you got some games you really need to win, especially if you're Amherst or North Olmsted. You pretty much need to win out because you don't want to start relying on teams to have to lose, obviously. So it's going to be interesting. It's only week 6, so we have 4 more weeks left and still an opportunity to make the playoffs. But Avon and Midview 1-2 right now in Division II Region 6. Right now we'll step away. We'll take a short break. When we come back, Ed's doing a little double duty for Sean Duffy this week, who's traveling right now with the Suburban League coming up. He's not traveling with the Suburban League, but Ed will cover both Suburban League conferences, the National and American divisions, as we come back. And we'll also talk about our game of the week, give a little coverage into that, and talk about our recaps. Yeah, game of the week.
Plural.
That's right.
Plural.
That's right. We'll talk about both those games as we come back. We're live from Z's Cream and Bean in Hinckley. We'll be right back.